Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Wise women don't forget their show notes. Let me just tell you. I ran so fast, wood's falling down. I'm knocking everything out of its way, but I'm here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad. Look at all these wise women in the house. I see Catherine and Kathy. There's Mother Hen. Hi, Nancy. Deborah's here. Who else? It keeps skipping around. Deborah's here. Jocelyn's here. Jackie's here. Doris. Look at us all. We're here to have a good time. So cheers. Who's got their hot milk mix, their Crave water? Is this not the best thing ever? I mean, that stuff is just flying out the door, you guys. You're not doing it. It's the TikTok folks. They're all about it. Hi, Catherine. She's got her hand waving. This week we got a bunch of stuff going on. All right, let's just get down to it because one of our best-selling, most fabulous, I'm so pleased with this supplement, is our Bio Omega 3X. I love this supplement because fish oil has a tendency, when you're buying it out on the open market, to be rancid. The oily ones do. Not this. This is dry. It's different. And it's been tested. It's 3 times what it says it is because that's the impact it has. And you can get this as a buy one, get one. And listen, every single person on the planet needs this. Man, woman, child. We all have this deficit of omega-3 fatty acids in our systems. We get plenty of omega-6s and 9s, but not enough omega-3s because they mostly come from fish. They come from chia seeds. It's another source. And I want to tell you right now, if you do get more omega-3s into your body, your hormones are going to function better. Your joints are going to feel a little bit better. Your brain operates better, circulatory, heart. It's just ridiculous how much this is helpful. It's also super helpful for weight. A long time ago when we had a rep who we used to work with quite a bit, and he helped us with so many things. And you know what she said? He said that the dry is always preferable over an oily. And also, he said, I don't understand why you don't sell more of these. Don't you have a lot of women who are trying to lose weight? And I said, yes. And he said, this is key. And I said, yes. And so now I'm just saying, hey, buy one, get one free. That's a screaming deal. Get after it. You don't have to just get one, by the way. You can get 3 and get 3 free. It's up to you. And we'll also send you this. Beautiful me. This is our self-care book extraordinaire. I love this thing. Our Mother Hen does this with her granddaughters. Isn't that wonderful? It's lovely. So yeah, it's a screaming great deal. Go get it. Get it, get it, get it. We have free shipping for those of $300 or above. So thank you to you. I mean, this happens all the time. We get people who go and they're kind of out of everything. They go shopping, and now we say thank you for that. So if you live here in the United States, thank you, thank you. We are going to give you free shipping for that. We have a boutique on Etsy. A boutique. Doesn't that sound so, I don't know, hoity-toity? But wise women like to wear their full bloom gear, don't they? I do. Check it out at savingdinner.com/Etsy. Go get your hoodie, right? The other thing that you need to know is our quote of the week. It's a humdinger. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Here it is. Sometimes the smallest step in the right directions ends up being the biggest step of your life. I'm sure you've been in that position before. We all have been in that position before where we see like just doing that one thing, making that one decision, doing that one tiny thing was just, you know, the tipping point. It started the whole thing. So think about this. Don't ever dismiss a small step. Always give yourself a congratulations and say one step in the right direction. Yes, ma'am. I'm about that. Okay. Did I get everything? I don't know, Jenny. I can't check Slack. And by the way, if anybody's trying to Slack me, sorry. My Slack is not working. They won't let me in. I've got to upgrade everything and I've got a big mess ahead of me. So I'm doing that this afternoon. 37 years. Yes. Yes, yes. Happy anniversary to Sue. All right. I'm glad you're here, Sue, too, by the way. I believe that's everything. I got them all. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jenny. Jenny keeps me straight. I appreciate that, Jenny. Patsy, hello. I'm glad you're here. So other than, wise women are smart about their omega-3 fatty acids. And most of us don't get tested for that, by the way. But you know how vitamin D deficiency is pretty darn common? So is this. Get your fish oil in, girls. Your nutritionist is telling you to do it. And especially this week when it's such a great deal. savingdinner.com/show. Telling you. All right, let's talk about this. First of all, it's Wise Women's Wednesday. All this week, we've been talking about this idea of transformation, but more importantly, the idea of exchange, right? Exchange. Hi, Andrea. I'm so glad you're here. She's still loving her perfect paleo protein, and Jennifer's here too. But this whole idea of an exchange, and one of my favorite Bible verses in Isaiah has always been that He will give us beauty for our ashes. And I will tell you, I don't know how many years ago, 30 years ago or so, that was a Bible verse that launched itself into my soul, and it saved me from from a hard time. I was going through a very difficult time. Anybody else ever gone through a difficult time? I'm sure you have. But it gave me this idea, and it showed me who God is, that He is willing to do this for me. And if I'm willing to give up those ashes, and what are ashes worth anyway? Ashes are remnants, are leftovers, are the burned remains of what was. And so if we are going to give up these ashes, because that's all that's left, and for that we're going to get beauty for the exchange, then we need to look at that. And we need to see that A, we serve an awesome God, and B, that the exchange is just a matter of a decision of giving up that. And for that, we're going to get way more than we bargained for, right? We're going to get way more back in exchange for that. And that's what transformation is, and that kind of transformation. So if we're bringing brokenness to the table, we're going to get back wholeness. And sometimes that wholeness isn't, exactly like we envisioned, but the wholeness can be different. I told you the story of my friend whose 12-year-old daughter died in her arms, walking across the room, this heart thing that she had. And I don't remember the exact name of it, but it was some, you've heard of this before, where students are playing basketball and then they just fall dead on the floor in the playing basketball. Same kind of idea, just like this thing that they had been born with, is some congenital thing, and then done. And it just, talk about devastation. So she will never be whole in the way that she was, but she made wholeness happen by making a foundation around her daughter's memory. And that's the thing that we need to be looking at, is that if we are striving for getting back exactly what we had before, instead of understanding that sometimes the ashes that we have will be exchanged for a different kind of beauty than we ever imagined, then that leaves open this idea of transformation. However, and every wise woman knows this, and every wise woman has probably been through this, there have been times where we get stuck. We get stuck. We are in this place of, this is where we are with these ashes, and this is where we want to go to exchange and get that and attain that beauty, but we're stuck and not doing anything. Instead of having the exchange happen, we're stuck in a negative loop. We're stuck in whatever our lives are about. And I want to talk about what these things are and how they affect us and what it is that we can possibly do in order to disrupt maybe old patterns and create possibility instead of the impossibility that might be happening. Hello, Teresa. I'm glad to see you. So here you go. Let's get down to it. You ready? There's and I will say, there is a variety of reasons out there that people get stuck. It doesn't mean that we have to stay stuck, of course, but let's look at what some of these things are, and maybe one of these things resonates with you. And if that's the case, we'll talk about the problem and we'll also offer up a possible solution. How's that sound? I think that's what we need to do as wise women, by the way, is we have to be in this place of evaluation continually. And if we do so with an analytical lens in our glasses, and if we do so in a way that isn't about piling on and making ourselves feel bad, then we can get to the place of being solution oriented instead of just saying, oh, I just can't, and I'm so dumb, I'm so this, I'm so that, because that's just simply not true, right? We made that declaration on Monday, almost a manifesto, if you will, that yes, you're worthy, yes, you can, and yes, you have the ability, and it's God-given, right? Hi, Autumn. I'm glad you're here. So today, let's look at some of these reasons why. Why is it that we get stuck? Even wise women get stuck, by the way. Don't ever put yourself down for being stuck. Instead, let's take a step back and let's take a deep breath. Let's go in with a pencil, some graph paper, a calculator, whatever else is needed in order to figure this out. This is important. And you know what the number one thing is, of course, is a lack of a clear vision of what you want to change or even achieve. And I want to say this because, we are, of course, it's too late for you now, because if you're not in our goal, the rising tide, it's too late for that, because the rising tide is closed. But, the discussions that we had like last night and the things that I've been thinking about as we went through, our class and what have you, nobody has it all together, you guys. Nobody is just sitting there going, oh, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write my goals. It's just that simple. And then I'm going to go on and my action steps are going to be this. And then the next day I'm going to start implementing them and it's going to go out without a hitch. Oh, heck no. It doesn't work that way. It's harder than that. And it's harder because we're excavating and digging deep for what it is that we truly desire and how we want to show up in the world and how we want to live in this bodysuit of ours, in this broken world. All of that is going to influence the way that we create and do our goals, and especially the way that we feel about ourselves and all of that. But if we take the time to just think about what it is that we truly want, and even if we're saying, yeah, but I just want to be happy, right? How do I make a goal out of that? Well, what makes you happy? This is where we get to go into the why matrix. We've talked about this. Well, why do you want to be happy? Well, I feel better when I'm happy. What makes you happy? Well, I love being around my kids, or I love whatever. Well, how can you do more of that? And we just keep asking ourselves the question till we come to a solution and we can figure out how, because we've taken the time to dig into why. Does that make sense? That's one of the best things that we can do. And then, of course, take back your life journals. If you don't have one of those, this will take you into digging into your goals as well. If you don't have one, go to savingdinner.com/journal and go check that out, because it will help you to do these kind of goals, these SMART goals that we're talking about: specific, measurable, actionable, what else? Attainable, rather relevant, and time bound. That's a SMART goal. and also how to do it in a way that'll help you set intentional goals that'll make you feel like you're living a full bloomed life, right? Number two is fear. We've talked a lot about that last week. Boy, did we dig into some fearful stuff, didn't we? We talked about it. When we have fear of failure, the unknown, or leaving the comfort zone behind, some of us get paralyzed with like, I just don't even know what to do, right? I understand that. But, the only thing that we can do with fear is to acknowledge it and to face it. And as I always say, and it's the truth, and wise women know this, is that as we acknowledge this, as we face it, we see that this fear is not as big as we thought it was. It's not as overwhelming as we perceived it to be. Instead, it shrinks down a little bit. It's more to fit, I don't believe we ever get over all of our fears. Some of them, I believe we can straighten them out with certain thinking and doing skills. But some of them are just going to be a part of who we are, but we can shrink it down to size and just say, get out of here. You're just bugging me right now. We can, because we're wise that way. And I believe too, that this is my personal opinion, that if we're trying to banish all fear from our lives, then we're working on the perfect instead of the excellent. And I just bring it back to this whole thing of what it is that we can live with and what it is that we need to adjust. That's how we can do this. That's how we can get through these things. And we can work on one thing at a time. Nobody says you have to go through and do this blanket cleanup situation. Hey, Linda, Maureen. The other thing is procrastination. Oh boy, did we talk about that last week. I don't remember what day that was. I think it was day 1. I think it was last Monday. Not this last Monday, but the Monday before, when we talked about fears and how they show up in our lives. But, when we delay tasks and actions, guess what that is? A barrier, an absolute barrier that we have built ourselves to actually achieving something, to actually getting that exchange from ashes to beauty. It is a block on transformation. So the way that we do this then is that instead of having overwhelming goals, we shrink them down and make them small. That's it. Make them small, make them 12 weeks long, make them affirmative, and make them intentional. That's what we do. And I believe we have a webinar if you want to watch it, and it has the Take Back Your Life journal in it. And it's savingdinner.com/goal or goals. Is that right, Jenny? Jenny will know. She knows all our shortcuts. But I believe that in that webinar, it explains how to do this. Because when we're doing this, we're also taking our goals and creating actual neural transformation in our brains, creating new neural pathways. And that's what is absolutely essential for any kind of change, by the way. We understand these things. We understand the mechanics of how all this stuff works. It makes it a lot easier, doesn't it, to be able to get into that and just say, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but excellence calls us to do these things so that we can, make that slow transformation. It's not that hard that way. It's not simple, super easy, but it's not going to be a brain breaker. 4 is a lack of resources. And a lot of times I hear, I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't have this, I don't have that, I can't achieve my goals. And all that is just a matter, again, of, developing a plan that's realistic for you. If you've got friends who are all going out and they're saying, we go out every Wednesday and do blah, 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 blah. And you're saying, I don't have cash for that. Then you say, hey, how about we get together and, we'll come over to my house. This is what we can do. We find solutions around lack of resources, and we can create our own abundance, by the way. There's an exchange of ashes for beauty, by the way. See that? There's always a way around the mountain if you dare to look. There's always something else that we can do. Hi, Debbie. Then there's the problem of limited self-belief. Ever hear of that one? If you have a lack of confidence or belief in your abilities, that's going to hinder your progress. Of course it is. So, what do we do about that? Well, we work on building our self esteem. We build our self esteem by congratulating ourselves, right? By congratulating ourselves on what it is that we've already done. We acknowledge our wins throughout the day. We high five ourselves, and we don't just dismiss ourselves because we haven't, finished the whole thing. One little step. Remember our quote of the week? One little step is could be the step that changes the direction of your entire life. And that's how this whole thing is that we have this notion that it all needs to be done right now. When in fact, what needs to happen is we need to take that step and acknowledge the awkwardness of it, but I did it anyway, and get it done. And get it done. There's Dr. Joe Dispenza. I talk about him. Oh gosh, his book was just in my head. I can't. It just flew out of my head. But it's about breaking the habit of being yourself. Is the name of the book. And in that book, he's saying, in order for you to get what you haven't had before, you have to change who you are. And nobody's ever had the guts to say that, I don't think. And I will tell you, that's the truth. Because you aren't ready to be that person who's on the other end of the goal unless you change some things. And that's what this whole process is about. That's the transformation thing. That's the exchange, by the way, when we do this. So, yeah, believe. Ted Lasso, touch the sign, believe, Remind yourself you've had past success before. Look back on that and say, that's the thing. I'm going to do what I did then. That's the thing that's going to do it. Find mentors, find people that you admire, find someone who's going to be your body clutter buddy or whatever it is that you need. But the thing is that sitting on your duff doing nothing is going to get you precisely what you've always had. Jenny, thank you for putting that up. Do you like this right here? savingdinner.com/goals, how to set goals and make them happen. And there's a lot of information in there. And it specifically talks about our process for making goals happen. And it's all recorded and you can watch that. A lack of support is often a problem. And you know what? Going to the wrong people for support is also the problem. You don't ask negative Nelly, your, friend sitting next to you in the cubicle at work about it. No, thank you. You know what you do? You find the right people who are on the same page that are going to support you. That's why I harp on you. Just get into the Hot Milk Sprint group. You want to see support? There's support there. Nobody's going to be questioning you or your values or your nutrition or what it is that you're doing and should you be doing that and no, you should be doing this instead and telling you and advising you. Every time you say something about the way you're eating or whatever, all the amateur nutritionists come out of the woodwork and they want to advise you on what to do. Cracks me up. But, it's really hard and it creates very difficult situation and an environment when you don't have people around you supporting you. This is why it's good to make your own little pantry or your own little part of the refrigerator or whatever it is when everybody else is just going off the rails. Don't go with them. Create your own path. Create your own path is the deal. That's the solution. And it's not fun sometimes. You got to get out the machete and knock all that stuff down and create that stuff, but it's doable. And I'll tell you, there's nothing that a woman with grit in her coursing through her veins is going to get stopped up with. I mean, there's nothing that was going to stand in her way. You got grit, not quit. You'll figure it out. I promise you, you will figure it out. And if you need help, you call on your sisters. If you need help, you just keep looking until you get it. You need help, you call me, right? Support at savingdinner.com. I'll listen. I'll help you. I'll do what I can. But, we just have to stop quitting on ourselves. Quitting's never going to get us anything except make us feel horrible. And that's not going to help at all. The other thing is understanding sometimes there's ambiguity in the transformation process. That is that we don't know where to start. You're just going, Well, I've got all this stuff, right? And the simplicity of this, and this is where, we need to really think about what it is that we're doing. And the simplicity of it is saying, you know what? This is the thing that I need to start with first. What's the needle mover for you? What is the thing that's going to maybe can be piggybacked, can be the starting place, and other things can be piggybacked on it? Where is your starting place? And you go through it and you Y matrix that too if you need to. But don't let this idea that there's so much to do hold you up. Go ahead, brainstorm it. Go ahead, say, okay, this is all this stuff here, and this is all this stuff over here, and this is all this stuff over here. Then maybe prioritize that stuff, this stuff, and this stuff. And then go through it and say, okay, so where am I going to start? Trust yourself. You'll know where to start. You'll know where to begin. You know what's most dear to you. And allow yourself to have that moment. It's important. You're important and you're worthy of this kind of time. Health issues can be a problem, can't it? Of course they can. So physical, mental health issues, sometimes this is all just hints and side consequences of something else going on, a deeper thing. See your doctor, see a mental health professional, a counselor or a pastor, whatever. But the point is that we can't stop. We have to discover in order to get past this place so we can get to the counter and do the exchange. When you go to Target and you want to exchange something, or you go anywhere else, you have to go to a specific place to do that. And in order to do that, you need to grab what it is that you want to exchange, that maybe you have it at home. You have to put that in a bag, put it in the car, drive, park the car, and then make your way to that exchange counter and stand in line. And sometimes it's a pain in the neck, isn't it? But in order to get the exchange, that's what you have to do. Why won't we do this with our own stuff? We'll do it for, a pair of $10 jeans, but we won't do it for ourselves. Come on. That's where we need to start going down into the depths of our souls and saying, what's really important to me? This is huge, by the way, because to get to that exchange, you have to do the work in order to get to the counter to do the exchange. It's that simple. There's external circumstances always. Something's going to come up, something unknown, unseen, unforeseen. There's life events that come up and suddenly, you're dealing with X, Y, and Z. But, I will tell you, I don't know of a wise woman who isn't resilient. I don't know of a wise woman who hasn't decided and made a decision to become a flexible woman. Blessed are the flexible because they will not be broken. So revise your plans, revise your strategy, plan B it, plan C it, plan D it if you have to. You're not stuck. You just haven't figured it out yet. And these are strategies in which we can figure things out. And in order to get to where it is that we want to get, then we're going to have to start mapping it out. And we're going to have to start looking at all of these things and start staying the course. Stop quitting on ourselves. These things happen. They happen to you. They happen to me. But it doesn't have to impede our progress. And one more thing before I say goodbye to you on this Wise Women's Wednesday, and hello to Jane, by the way. And that is this, that you don't have to go fast to get this done. You can go at your own pace. This is your show. This is your life. This is the way you do things. And you need to customize this plan and all these hiccups and all these obstacles and everything else. You have to figure these things out for yourself. However, there's no stopwatch on it. There's nobody saying, okay, ready, set, go. It's not that way. Give yourself breathing room. Give yourself room to process this. And then go when you're ready. Because when you do this, Jane, yes, allow. That's what we talked about last night. When you do this, when you allow and give yourself permission to do it on your own timetable, you're going to sense of relief is incredible, number one. And number two, as you sigh and go, okay, you've just gone from this to this. The room is there. You can do it. So don't ever feel like it's too much, it's too this, it's too that. It's not. It's just you haven't figured it out yet. Give yourself that grace. You deserve it. All right. There you go. Wise women. Wise women all together now. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow, we are going to wrap up our whole Beauty for Ashes thing and finish up on transformation. If you missed any of the announcements, you can find them on savingdinner.com/announcements. And I'm looking forward to being with you. Oh, and Jane, just one word here. I have a real glitch hiccup right now in Slack, so I haven't returned. It's not giving me an opportunity right now. I've got to revamp everything. So I'm here for you. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Sue. And thank you again, everyone, for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. Peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.